السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم لك الحمد كما خلقتنا ورزقتنا وهديتنا وحبوتنا وعلمتنا وأنقذتنا. لك الحمد بالإسلام والقرآن، لك الحمد بالأهل والمال والمعافاة. بسطت رزقنا وأظهرت أمننا وجمعت فرقتنا، ومن كل ما سألناك يا ربنا أعطيتنا. فلك الحمد حتى ترضى، ولك الحمد إذا رضيت، ولك الحمد بعد الرضا. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبع أثره إلى يوم الدين وبعد. Allah, to you belong all praise and thanks for creating us, sustaining us, guiding us, teaching us, and protecting us. To you belong all praise and thanks for the bounty of Islam and Quran, for the bounty of food and drinks, for the bounty of clothing and shelter. You have indeed united our hearts with Islam. You have indeed expanded our provisions. You have indeed granted us stability in our country. You have indeed given us everything that we ask you. Therefore, O Allah, to you belong all praise and thanks until you are pleased. And to you belong all praise and thanks when you are pleased. And to you belong all praise and thanks after you are pleased. And may peace and blessings of Allah be upon the seal of the messengers Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one who was sent as a teacher of mankind, the nurturer of mankind, and the purifier of this soul that is inspired by its Lord with its good and its evil. Successful indeed is the one who purifies his soul with Tawheed, and failure indeed is the one who tainted his soul with shirk. And as for that which follows, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, the topic of today's lecture will be At-Tawheedu Awala. Tawheed comes first. And the reason why we choose this topic on this day is because this day is a day when the greatest sin is being committed. The greatest oppression is being committed, which is shirk. And the greatest sin is also being what? Committed, and the greatest kufr, which is ascribing to Allah Almighty a son, which He the Most High is glorified and also exalted from. May Allah Almighty grant us understanding of this religion. Ameen. Many people today are saying that Allah Almighty is one of the three, and that Jesus is God, and that He is the Son of God. When Jesus himself said in the Quran, Ya Bani Israel, I'budullah, Rabbi wa Rabbakum, innahu man yushrik billahi faqad harrama Allahu alayhi al-jannah. He, Jesus himself, said, O children of Israel, worship Allah, my Lord and your Lord. Indeed, whoever associate partners with Allah, then Allah will make the paradise forbidden on him. Wa ma'wahu an-nar, and his abode will be the fire of hell. Allah the Almighty said to these people, وَلَا تَقُولُوا ثَلَاثًا, and do not say that Allah the Almighty is one of the three. إِنْتَهُ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, this is from so saying that is better for you. إِنَّمَا اللَّهُ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ, Allah the Almighty is only one God. سُبْحَانَهُ أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُ وَلَدٌ, exalted is He and glorified is He to have a child. So today we would like to talk about Tawheed Awala. Tawheed comes first. But I know many of you here know why Tawheed comes first. Therefore I would like to ask, why do you think Tawheed comes first? Why Tawheed first? Why Tawheed first? Can anyone tell me why? Because it teaches the oneness of Allah the Almighty. Now, because it is the purpose of our creation. Why are we created? Allah the Almighty, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I, Allah, did not create mankind and jinkind but to serve me. Our noble scholar, Shaykh al-Islam, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, in his book, Usul al-Thalatha, he said, وَمَعْنَا يَعْبُدُونِ يُوَحِّدُونِ. The meaning of the word يَعْبُدُونِ, worship me, is to single me out along with worship. Why do we say Tawheed comes first? Because it is the goal behind the message of the messengers. He, the Most High, mentioned in Surah Al-Nahl, saying, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ قَرْيَةٍ فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا. To every nation we have sent a messenger, أَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهِ, saying, worship Allah the Almighty alone, وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ, and stay away from Tawheed. Why Tawheed first? Because He, the Most High, has commanded us to call the people of the book to Tawheed. To قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ, say, O people of the book, تَعَالَوْا إِلَى كَلِمَةٍ سَوَاءٍ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمْ. Come to a phrase that is equal between us and you. أَلَّا نَعْبُدَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ, that we will not worship any other God but Allah. وَلَا نُشْرِكَ بِهِ شَيْئًا, that we will not associate partners with Him. وَلَا يَتَّخِذُ بَعْضُنَا بَعْضًا أَرْبَابًا مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ, and that some of us will not take others as lords beside Allah. فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا, however, if they turn their backs away, فَقُولُوا اشْهَدُوا بِأَنَّا مُسْلِمُونَ, just say to them, bear witness that we are Muslims. Why Tawheed first? Because the Prophet ﷺ, when he sent Mu'adh ibn Jabal to Yemen, what did he say to him? He said to him, إِنَّكَ تَأْتِي أَقْوَامًا مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. When you go to Yemen, you will come across some people from the people of the book, and these are the Jews of Yemen. The Prophet said, فَلْتَقُنْ أَوَّلْ مَا تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَيْهِ شَهَادَةُ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Let the first thing that you call them to be La ilaha illallah. So the reason why Tawheed comes first are many, and the proofs for this are many from the book of Allah and the Sunnah of His Messenger. However, we'll move to the next to the next theme of our topic, which is the definition of Tawheed. What is the word Tawheed mean linguistically and also technically? The word Tawheed means,
I would say description of three aspects are description of our Lord, I would say.
Description of our Lord. So Tawheed, well done, and Jazakallah khairan. Yes.
The oneness of Allah.
The oneness of Allah. So the word Tawheed is from the derivative of the word Wahada yuwahhidu Tawheeda, meaning He singled out, He is singling out singularity. And the word singularity means the quality of being single. That is like our young boy said, the oneness of Allah. So oneness means the quality of being one. But the technical meaning of the term Tawheed, as it is defined in Al-Usul al-Thalatha, huwa ifradullahi bil-ibadah, to single out Allah the Almighty alone with worship. However, some scholars define Tawheed, because this definition only gives us one aspect of Tawheed. But the other scholars define Tawheed as ifradullahi fi rububiyyati wa fi uluhiyyati wa fi asma'ihi al-husna wa sifatihi al-ula. And that is to single out Allah the Almighty in His lordship, in His deification, and in His beautiful names and attributes. So from this definition is what is all-inclusive. From this definition, then we can derive the three categories of Tawheed, and they are, what is the first?
Rububiyyah.
Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, which is the Tawheed of what? The Lordship of Allah. And what is the second? Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, which is the Tawheed of the deification of Allah the Almighty. What is the third? Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat, the Tawheed of the beautiful names of Allah the Almighty and His what? And His attributes. So again, the word Tawheed technically is defined as ifradullahi fi rububiyyatihi wa uluhiyyatihi wa asma'ihi al-husna wa sifatihi al-ula, to single out Allah the Almighty in His lordship, in His deification, and in His beautiful names and attributes. Now let us talk about these three aspects of Tawheed, one after the other. Beginning with Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. What is the definition of Tawheed al-Rububiyyah? I know you know, yeah.
It's actions and creations.
Huh?
Action and creation.
Action and creation. Any other? Yes.
Oneness of his lordship, to single him out as the only one that who we're to worship.
The only one who deserves to be
Worship.
worshipped. All right. Let's see. I'll take this, but let's move to the next. What is the definition of Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah?
What he just said.
What he just said.
Right.
All right.
No?
So now you told me what is the difference between Rububiyyah and Uluhiyyah. How can we differentiate between Uluhiyyah and Rububiyyah? Yes.
So here, Rububiyyah is the oneness of his lordship.
Wa alaikum salam.
Uluhiyyah is oneness of his worship. So therefore, when we worship him, we show it in actions by good deeds, prayer, dhikr, so forth and so on.
Beautiful. Okay, now tell me, can you give me an example of Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, for example? Hmm? He's the creator, right? He's the one who creates. He's the one who sustains. He's the one who elevates and degrades. He's the one who creates and resurrects to the end. So the Tawheed al-Rububiyyah is the Tawheed of Allah the Almighty in His actions. Okay? To single out Allah the Almighty fi af'alihi. Tawheedullah wa ifradullahi fi af'ali. To single out Allah the Almighty in His actions. To believe that He is the only one who creates. Creation is the action of who? Allah. He's the one who gives life. He's the one who sustains. But the Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah is the Tawheed of Allah the Almighty in your actions. The action of the creatures, right? For example, bowing. Who bow? We do. Prostration. Who prostrates? We do. Raising the power of humbleness in dua. Who makes dua? We do. So dua, the act of worship that we perform to Allah the Almighty, we have to single Him out along with these actions. So difference again is Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah is the Tawheed of Allah the Almighty in our actions, and the Tawheed al-Rububiyyah is the Tawheed of Allah the Almighty in His actions. I hope this is clear. This is clear, right? Beautiful. All right. So yes.
So is uluhiyyah is like that, like a batter sort of? Is it sort of? Is uluhiyyah like a batter?
Ibadah, that is deification, the one who deserves to be worshipped. A deity is someone who is worshipped, right? So the Tawheed of Uluhiyyah is the Tawheed of Ibadah, the acts of worship that we perform. It has to be performed only seeking with it the pleasure of Allah the Almighty. Now, so the third aspect is Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat. Allah the Almighty said, "Laysa kamithlihi shay wa huwa as-sami' al-basir." There is nothing like Him, and He is the all-hearer, the all-seer, right? So here, if you look at the ayah, there is negation and affirmation. Allah the Almighty has negated that there is no one like Him. And then He affirmed for Himself the attribute and the qualities of what hearing and seeing. So our scholars mention that Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat is to affirm for Allah the Almighty what He affirmed for Himself in His book, and what His messenger affirmed for Him in His sunnah without negating them, meaning do not say, we don't believe that Allah the Almighty has hands, for example. When Allah the Almighty has affirmed for Himself the quality of hands, and without resembling, and do not say our hand is like the hands of Allah, and without describing, meaning do not say the hand of Allah the Almighty is like this. So we can. So how do we affirm these qualities? We said we believe in them, and we affirm that Allah the Almighty has these qualities in a manner that befits His majesty. So yes, he can see. He said he can see. How? We don't know. But do we have to believe in it? Yes. That's why when a man came to Malik, rahimahullah, and he said to him, tell me about the verse of Rahman al-Arshi Istawa. The most beneficent has rose over his what? Throne. Tell me, how is the rising? So Malik said to him, al-Istawa ma'lum. I mean, rising is what? It's known. Wal kayf majhul. But how is unknown. Wal iman bihi wajib. However, believing in it is mandatory. Was su'alu anhu bid'ah. And asking about it is an innovation. And then he said, kick this man out of the nation because he is an innovator. So we have to believe in these beautiful names of Allah the Almighty that He the Most High can see. But His seeing is not like our seeing. Because our seeing has what? Limitation. Allah the Almighty sees the crawling of the black ant on a black rock in a dark cave in an intense night. Nothing whatsoever is hidden from His sight. He's the all-hearer. He hears the movement of the fetus in the belly of their mother. He hears all these complaints that are being complained to Him at the same time in different languages. At the same time, He hears all. So the hearing of Allah the Almighty is not like our hearing. And the belief in the names and the beautiful names and attributes of Allah the Almighty is one of the most important aspects of Tawheed, and many scholars have written books on that. One of the books that I would recommend is the book that is written by Ibn Taymiyyah, and this book is also explained by many scholars, which is Aqidatul Wasatiyya. An explanation of Ibn Taymiyyah is an explanation that I would recommend for all of you, and I believe it is translated to English. So please try to read that book. May Allah Almighty grant us understand the religion. Amen. So now, these are the three aspects of Tawheed. So we have to believe in the existence of Allah. Now, how do we prove the existence of Allah the Almighty? Our scholars mentioned there are three ways of proving the existence of Allah the Almighty, and I want to see if we are able to mention these three ways. Yes.
I was the sun.
And the sun. You said the sun, right? So,
By that which He has created.
by that which He has created. So what type of proofs are these proofs? Where do they fall under?
Oh, these is physical.
This is physical. All right, what other ways do we know that Allah the Almighty exists?
The intellect of the human.
I cannot hear you.
The intelligence of the human. The intellect.
The intelligence of the human. That's the one. That's the first one he mentioned. The second.
Life and death.
Why are messengers sent? Right? لَأَلَّا يَكُونَ لِلنَّاسِ عَلَى اللَّهِ حُجَّةٌ. So we know the existence of Allah the Almighty from the text of the Quran. This is another way. Okay? So if you said, all right, I don't believe in what you are saying, Allah the Almighty sent the messengers to come and tell us. All right? So the first is what? The textual proofs. And the textual proofs are the proof of the Quran and Sunnah. The second is what you mentioned, the intellectual proofs. Like the sun, the moon. Your existence is a proof that Allah the Almighty exists. That's when you read the Quran, you'll come across many verses where He the Most High is telling us what? To look in our own creation. Like think about what you were and what you have become. That's why He the Most High said, Alam nakhluqkum ma'in mahin. Did we not create you from a disgusting fluid? Right? So you think about what you were. You were a disgusting fluid. How did this fluid turn from being a fluid to a clot of blood? Then from that to a muscle of flesh. Then He the Most High created these amazing frame in it, which is the human skeleton. Then He created these amazing machines that are working in us. The heart, the spleen, the bladder, the intestines, all these, the brain, all these things he created them working, all from disgusting what? From the disgusting fluid. And think about how he the Most High put everything together in a perfect manner. He made these ribs to be the cage that protect our hearts and our lungs. This is not, it just that happened by chance. You know, our noble scholar Ibn al-Qayyim said, just look at how God created you. Just think about these hands that Allah the Almighty created for you. If you think about it, if you are trying to rearrange these fingers in other than how He the Most High arranged them, it's not going to function right. Our noble scholar Ibn al-Qayyim said in his book, Miftah Dar as-Sa'adah, so if you look at our hands, you will see that He the Most High has arranged these fingers, the pinky, the ring, the middle, and the index finger. All of them are on the same line, right? Except the thumb, that is stationed aside. So why is it like this? Did we ever sit down and think about it like this? He said, we never thought about it. But if you look at it, if the thumb is up here, when you fold your finger, you will not be able to lock it with the fist. He said, Allah the Almighty has stationed this aside to be the lock of the fist in order to give us a firm fist, to be a defense weapon for us. And then he said, if you look at these fingers, you see how He the Most High did not make them even. They're not even. But then when you cave them in like this, you'll see that it is even now. Why? To help us to have a firm grip. And then he said, why do you think He the Most High stabilized the tips of our fingers with fingernails? To make it firm. And so that when we are itchy, we can use these fingernails to what? To scratch the itchy parts of our bodies. So you sit down and just think about these things. These things are not there just to be there. They are there for a reason. So He's out of His wisdom. He created one nose for us, but then He made two passages. Why? To be the passage of waste that come from our head. However, think about the wisdom of Allah. If one nose is stuffed with the waste, you have the other one to breathe with it. He said all this did not happen by chance. And He the Most High, whatever we don't need, He will not give us. He said if you look at our bodies, some of our parts are single, some are dual, and some are triad, and some are quadruple. Example, the tongue is only one tongue that we have because we don't need two. You say if you look at our head, we have only one head. We don't need two heads because we're gonna look what? We're gonna look horrible. Imagine a human being is walking with two heads. It's not gonna look right. So some of our body parts are even because we need them. For example, the hands are even, right? The legs are even because we need these two hands. And then He says some He made them four. What are the example of the four parts that we have? For example, the eyelash, right? We have one here, two here, three here, and four to help us to blink our eyes and close it. You said also our ankles, they are four. So even if you look everything that Allah the Almighty created in us, all these are signs for us to know the Almighty. Not only us, just look at the birds. Look at the sky that is standing without any pillar holding them. All these are ways that we can use to prove the existence of Allah the Almighty. So again, the first is the textual proofs, which is the Quran and Sunnah. The second is the intellectual proofs, which are the creations of Allah the Almighty around us. And the third is the natural disposition. And this is the fitrah. This is the fitrah. Allah the Almighty said, فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. This is the natural disposition upon which He the Almighty created every human being. The Prophet ﷺ said, كُلُّ مَوْلُودٍ يُولَدُ عَلَى فِطْرَةٍ. Every child is born upon fitrah. So we by nature know that Allah the Almighty exists. Those who say we don't believe in the existence of Allah the Almighty, like the atheists, in reality, as He the Most High said, they are denying. As He the Most High spoke about Fir'aun and his host, وَجَحَدُوا بِهَا وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُمْ ظُلْمًا وَعُلُوًّا. They denied the existence of Allah the Almighty, when in reality their heart is telling them that Allah the Almighty exists. So any atheist that you come across that don't believe in Allah, he is lying, because Allah the Almighty mentioned in the Quran that their heart affirms the existence of Allah. So the term Tawheed, which is denying, as our scholars define it, is to negate with your tongue what your heart affirms, or to affirm with your tongue what your heart what negates. So they say with their tongue God does not exist, but their heart is telling them that Allah the Almighty exists. So again, these are the three ways of proving the existence of Allah the Almighty. The first, again, I will repeat, the textual proofs, the Quran and Sunnah. The second is the intellectual proofs, which is our brain. And the third is the natural disposition upon which Allah the Almighty created us. Now let's move on to talk about, we hear sometimes we have Tawheed and sometimes we hear the word Aqidah, right? So what is the difference between a Tawheed and Aqidah? Can someone tell me the difference between Tawheed and Aqidah? We hear these words a lot. A Tawheed and we hear Aqidah. Yes?
Tawheed is the oneness of the law, and Aqidah is the practice of the religion.
Is?
Aqidah is the practice of the religion.
Or how you believe. Aqidah, how you believe.
How you believe. All right. The practice of the religion can be also from the fiqh aspect, which is the prayer, and this we call it the ibadat. Okay? Aqidah it addresses the issue of the creed. Okay? It's not practical, but it refers to what you believe in. Right? For example, we believe that on the day of judgment we will see Allah the Almighty. The people of innovation, they don't believe that we will see Allah the Almighty. Right? This is part of Aqidah. Alright? So Aqidah is all inclusive. We believe that Allah the Almighty exists. This is what? Aqidah. We believe that Allah the Almighty is the only one who deserves to be worshipped. This is Aqidah. Okay? We believe and affirm the attributes of Allah. This is Aqidah. So Aqidah is all inclusive. So he only addresses about who? Allah the Almighty. We believe that the messengers were sent. This is part of. We believe on the day of judgment. This is part of. Is it part of Tawheed? Is the belief in the day of judgment considered Tawheed? No. Right? So here, we will be able to differentiate between a shirk and kufr. A shirk and kufr. Because not every disbeliever is a polytheist. I hope this is clear. Every polytheist is a disbeliever, but not every disbeliever is a polytheist, right? Is that clear? كل مشرك كافر وليس كل كافر مشرك. Can somebody who say La ilaha illallah and pray with us, can that individual be a kafir? Is it possible that somebody say La ilaha illallah and they pray and they are kuffar?
Yes, it's possible.
It's possible. There are people who say Aisha radiallahu anha committed zina, but they pray. They believe that Allah the Almighty is only one God. Are they Muslims? They are disbelievers. Why? Because they are rejecting the clear text of the Quran. Allah the Almighty has proved her innocence, but they are still claiming that Aisha is, but then they say we believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. So a person may be praying, for example, somebody who say I believe in La ilaha illallah, but then he's mocking the religion, for example. Okay? Also, I don't believe that I don't believe in the punishment of the grave, for example. Because believing in the punishment of the grave is something that is mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah. So if you reject those, then you are rejecting the clear text of the Quran. And whoever rejects the clear text of the Quran is a kafir. So the word kufr is general, and the word shirk is more specific. I hope this is clear. So again, Tawheed only addresses the oneness of Allah the Almighty, but Aqidah is more all inclusive. It addresses about everything else. Okay, another thing that I would like to, because some people ask, what do we start with? Do we start with learning Quran or do we start with learning Aqidah? If somebody asks you this question, what do you think? Or if you ask yourself this question, how would you answer yourself? Yes.
Aqidah.
He said Aqidah. Who agree or disagree? Huh?
I agree.
You agree. All right. So where do we learn Aqidah from? Huh? All right. So if you said we should learn Aqidah first, which book of Aqidah should we learn?
Quran.
Quran.
Correct first.
I hope this is clear, right? So, all right. So someone will say, no, learn Aqidah first. So you hope that you carry with you the book Kitab al-Tawheed, right? Or Usulu al-Thalasa, or Aqidatul Wasatiyya. But then when you open Kitab al-Tawheed, it's filled with what? Verses of the Quran. When you open Usul al-Thalasa, it's verses of the Quran, because all these things are derived from Quran. So Quran is the source. That's why when you read the history, the Tawheed, the biography of the scholars, you will hear that they memorized the Quran at the age of what? 9, at the age of 10, before they dive into the other areas of knowledge. So Quran is the source. Is the source of all knowledge. Aqidah is derived from Quran. Fiqh is derived from Quran. So you will see that even the students, like, you know, we were in college, we sit in class with those students who memorize Quran, everything is easy on them. Why? Because whenever you are asked a question, when you answer, you have to support your answer with a proof. So for those who memorize the Quran, they just what? Answer. They have all the answers there. For example, if you look at the verse of Miraf, you know, inheritance, all the verse of all the what do you call it? How to divide the inheritance. Everything is mentioned in like 2 or 3 verses of Surah An-Nisa. If you memorize those, you got everything done. So Quran is the source of all knowledge. So I would recommend all of you, please make sure you put more effort in learning Quran. But along the way, that doesn't mean that if you learn the Quran, you're not learning Aqidah. No, you learn Aqidah in learning Quran. If you don't know the Quran and you don't understand it, then you don't know your Aqidah. May Allah the Almighty grant us understanding of this religion. I think we have about 10 minutes to go. If you have any comment or question, we will take it to the best of our ability. Jazakumullahu khairan. So in brief, we spoke about Al-Aqidah, Tawheed. We mentioned the definition of Tawheed linguistically, which is to single out, so he's singling out singularity, which is the quality of being one. And then the technical definition of the word Tawheed is to single out Allah the Almighty in His Lordship, in His deification, and in His beautiful names and attributes, and that these are the 3 aspects of Tawheed. Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, al-Uluhiyyah, and al-Asma' wa-Sifat. Then we also mentioned how to prove the existence of Allah the Almighty, and that the 3 proofs are the textual proofs, which is the Quran and Sunnah, the intellectual proofs, which is the intellect which He, the Most High, gave us to ponder over His signs and know that He exists, and the natural disposition that is upon which Allah the Almighty what? Created, meaning everyone knows by nature that Allah the Almighty exists. Then we mentioned the difference between Tawheed and Aqidah. We said Tawheed addresses the oneness of Allah the Almighty, and Aqidah is all inclusive. It addresses issues that relate to the creed, including the belief in the last day, the belief in the destiny, the belief in the messengers to the end. And we also mentioned about, you know, what do you go by first, Quran or what? Or Aqidah. And we said Quran is the source, and that Aqidah is derived from the Quran. Jazakumullahu khairan. Now,
I got one request, right? Because in the city of Philadelphia, just please break down for people the difference between Tawheed and Tawheed, please. Because people, how you doing? I'm sick of it. How you doing? I'm Tawheed. I'm like, really? Just please.
All right.
Inshallah. Goodness gracious.
All right, so he's talking about, you know, people are trying to learn Arabic, so sometimes they blend English with Arabic. Instead of saying Tayyib, they said Tawheed. So the best way of saying this, well, or the correct way of saying this, well, Ana Tayyib, I am Tayyib, which means I am doing good or doing well. But not Ana Tawheed, like I am Tawheed. No, you are not Tawheed. Barakallahu feek.
I got more. Okay, polytheist. One more time, break that down for me. Polytheist. I see this word a lot. So this
All right.
meaning of this word, polytheist.
Polytheist is the noun for those who practice polytheism, and these are those who believe in more than one God. Then we have the agnostic, who are those, they are those who are confused. They said, because we cannot prove that God exists, so we don't believe in his existence, and we cannot prove that he does not exist, therefore we cannot say he does not what? Exist. So we remain neutral, right? We don't affirm the existence of God, and we don't negate the existence of God, because either way we don't have any evidence. They are
Partners.
you know, or they believe that, no, not really partners. They ascribe to Allah the Almighty that he has a son.
Okay.
You know, like exactly some Jews.
Wife, yeah.
Jews,
No.
you know, they believe that Ezra is a son of God. They can only worship one God,
Right.
but then they are attributing son to Allah. This is a form of kufr. Now,
I got another one. That's the last one.
all right.
We say Naam and Naam. Okay. There's no one. I get people always get confused. So we say yes, Naam. Correct.
Now,
Naam means sleep, right? Right. So, there's no way to break down. People listening to me, they always say Naam, Naam. Are you sleep? I don't get it. So
yeah, this is Arabic 101.
yeah. I'm Naam. Okay. All right.
So we have Naam and Naam, right?
No.
So Naam with the Ain means yes. And Naam without the Ain, with the elongation of the Alif is what? Sleep. Yeah. Yeah. So no, Naam, Naam, Naam.
They say Asnatu Kaidu when they're known. That's the same word, right?
Yeah, yeah. Prayer is better than sleeping. Right? Yep.
I ain't got no more. I got plenty, but not today. Not today. Next time.
No. Oh yeah, I mean, if sisters have any question, we will take them to the best of our ability, inshallah. وإلا we're done إن شاء الله. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا.